there's more than enough. Searching for the same destiny.
Woo. Oh, y'all caught me grooving. I love that song because you know what we need? Sister Modupe, Raw Vegan Soul Food Show. We know we need love.
Yes.
So, my king, Brother Bandele, my husband, wrote that beautiful song. It's not just between a man and a woman, but it's between people and their families, people across the continents, everybody, because this is what we need on the planet, right? Love, love, love. So, you know that's one thing we talk about that nourishes the soul on Sister Modupe's Raw Vegan Soul Food Show, where we talk about nourishing ourselves 360 degrees, right? Because, woo, we're not one-dimensional. There's a whole lot to us. We focus sometimes on the body, but we do other things too, because the whole body, mind, soul, your intellect, your spirit, it all has to be nourished with the right nutrients. So today we're going to talk about a body part that has gotten so out of balance in America. Oh my gosh. Let me ask my husband, King, do you know somebody whose thyroid gland is out of balance?
Yes, everybody, my dear sister.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll make sure I said name. He's got several sisters, so yes, and it is not fun watching somebody try and get that back into balance, figure out what's caused the issue, and but we're working on it, and we're gonna get that done. We're gonna get that done because she deserves, like everybody does, to be living a happy, healthy life, and that's what we talk about on this show: how to live a happy, healthy life. We talking about longevity, longevity. We talking about vitality. We want it all. We would sit here to have it all, right?
Yes, yes.
So today I say we're going to focus on talking about issues around the thyroid. And the thyroid gland, a lot of people don't realize the thyroid gland is kind of like a master switch for the body. You know how you had that electric box in the house, and when a fuse get blown or something's up, the electricity ain't functioning right in the house, you got where the fuse box,
Yes.
where the box at the main master switch for the house. That's kind of like what the thyroid gland is for the body. So you want to know what it needs and what it does not need so that it can help to keep everything flowing right? So in America, as I mentioned on a previous show, in America, a lot of people are not getting enough iodine. Years ago, decades ago, people ate differently. They weren't eating as many processed foods. Some people who lived along the coast were eating more seaweed, things like that. And so without this crucial nutrient called iodine, which you can get a large amount from sea plants, not from that white stuff on the table they call table salt that is not good for you. You'll see that they iodize it. Well, why not find something in nature that has it in it naturally? But the point also is that so many foods are lacking nutrition. Even those things that you think, well, this spinach grows or that grows and that grows, and you think it's going to be rich and full of nutrients. So even though we talk on this show about how to eat the best way you can, you've got to take your supplements, right? Because the air you breathe is not supposed to be brown, and you're breathing a lot of problem chemicals in with that air. And again, so we're going to talk about the thyroid gland because a lot of people are having issues. We're going to go to our first link so you can see I'm just the messenger. Don't hurt the messenger now. I'm just letting you know what's going on. Okay, so what you need to know about your thyroid health. Remember, I said this is one of the master switches for the body. But, we have to know that our body isn't like the throwaway society some people are in this country. Though you can live without your big toe, why throw it away? Okay? So we want to learn how to take care of the body so we can keep serving it well. So why? So it can keep serving us well. Okay? So your thyroid gland is one of the largest endocrine glands in the body. Okay? And it's got a lot of purposes. I mean, it produces chemicals that communicate with other chemicals and stuff in the body. So let's look at what it says here for understanding how it works. So the thyroid gland is butterfly shaped, and it's found inside your neck, just under your layers of your voice box. Okay, so now you've probably seen before where people will have that huge swelling there. You know, that's a goiter. That means somebody's thyroid gland is really unbalanced. And it happens with men and women. But the conditions quite often affect a lot of women, all right? So now it produces master metabolism hormones. Did you hear that? I said master metabolism hormones. So your metabolism, what is that? That's the thing where, you know, the speed, so to speak, of how fast your body systems are operating, right? And so sounds to me like you might want to have a handle on that. You might want that to be balanced and operating properly. Yeah. Okay? So the it's got a lot of hormones that it's responsible for producing and that communicate with other hormones in the body, right? So, like I say, this is a master switch. There's things coming in, it's sending stuff out, stuff's being sent to it, and all of this. I tell people all the time, our bodies are complex, but it's simple. Don't get in the way. You don't have to worry about that programming. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? We don't have to worry about the program of the body. I don't have to sit here and say, all right, beat heart or body parts secrete this, that, or the other thing, because it is already programmed, right? But we have to feed the body what it needs to keep that going properly and not get in the way. And we're going to talk about some of the things we need to do to not get in the way. We're not going to get into all the chemistry, right? But you can go back and look at this article and see that they mention some of the types of hormones that the, not pituitary, the thyroid gland produces, and then how those have to operate with other hormones and such from the other parts of the body. Now, hormones are secreted by your thyroid and they interact with your other hormones. Now, you keep hearing about hormone. You think that's just about, you know, being male or being female. No, those chemicals, those biochemicals have a lot to do with how the body operates, period. Balance. So check out how many different ways it has to, in fact, it influences the body. The fact that these hormones are all tied together and are in constant communication explains why a less than optimum thyroid status is associated with so many widespread symptoms and diseases. Okay, almost 90% of the hormone produced by the thyroid is in a certain form. They call these things T4, T3, T2, all that. We don't need to know all those, the chemistry intimately, but we do want to understand that there's a lot going on, and it's beautiful. And again, all we have to do is stay out the way and make sure we give the body the right nutrients so this functions well. And if everything is functioning properly, you will make what you need and have the correct amounts of these things, and which control the metabolism. All right, sit down. I want you to hear this. Control the metabolism of every cell in your body. Wow. Isn't that something? Every cell in your body. So like I say, when I said master control switch, I wasn't playing, all right? So when people have issues with the thyroid, it's a very serious thing. You've probably heard the people who have hypothyroidism. That's where the thyroid gland is not producing enough of these substances. And then hyperthyroid gland, where it's just racing and racing and racing. Either way, you can have some serious consequences like heart palpitations, problems either gaining weight, problems losing weight, problems focusing. It's not fun. It's not fun. Let's go back to the article. So you can see that it's very, very important that we want to understand how these things, how it's related to disease and such, and what I call imbalance or dis-ease. All right, so we're going to go down. So there's this sluggish thyroid syndrome. That's the hypothyroidism. All right, we're going to go back and watch the video. And so that's too little. No, we're not going to watch it. Too little thyroid hormone, a condition that is often linked to iodine deficiency. Did you hear me? Iodine deficiency. Now, the reason, it's very interesting because the reason that you may not have enough iodine is not just because you may not be consuming enough. It might be because you're eating or surrounded by chemicals in your environment that block your absorption of iodine. That's not cool. That's not good, okay? So However, only a marginal percentage of all these people who are being treated are being tested for hypothyroidism. So there's so many symptoms that people, doctors often miss, even with tests about what is really going on. So this article is really, really good. That's why I have this one up here, because they talk about the different tests you can have so you're not having false positives, or you can see sometimes doctors think that, well, it looks like it's okay, but indeed you still are not having an optimal operation of the thyroid. And that sounds like a switch, a master gland that needs to be an optimal operation, not a little slow or off pace, right? So how do you know if your hyperthyroid is not, if you have hyperthyroidism? Okay, so we're going to go down a little further. And one of the big things is people are just lethargic, right? They just have no energy. They're not up moving around and doing things, but they just have no energy. And when you know you're either used to being energetic and active, and now all of a sudden that's fallen off in ways, totally unexpected ways, that could possibly mean something like that, you need to get your thyroid function checked. It could be that you're starting to gain weight and you're not really changing how you eat that much, okay? So some of the symptoms of that the thyroid might be fatigued include, feeling that you just, like I say, you don't have the energy, or are heavy, or, your head is tired, especially in the afternoon. Your head is very sensitive and indicator of high thyroid hormone status, right? I mean, it's right up there in your neck, near your head. So if there's some malfunctioning going on, it just makes sense that you might feel it in your head. And, falling asleep as soon as you sit down when you don't have anything to do, right? You can't focus. You just, unless you're up moving your body around, it's like you got to fall out, like, somebody turned off a switch, okay? With gaining weight, if your skin is rough or dry or coarse, your hair tangles, hair loss even, okay? So a lot of women, losing their hair, some men too, and you can't figure out what might be going on. If you have a sensitivity to cold, you're feeling cold all the time, even when it's not, really cool in the room. Other people don't seem to be cool. People even in a sauna, do you imagine that? You sitting up in a sauna and you feeling cold? Oh man, that's some unbalance there, okay? Or you don't even sweat much when you're doing some mild exercise. Another thing is what they call low basal temperature. That's kind of the temperature when your body is at rest and your temperature is kind of low. People are always worried about a fever. Well, guess what? If that temperature is too low, I'm not going to say you're sitting there freezing, but or turn it into an ice cube, but that could be also an indication that something is really off. Okay, and any of these symptoms can be suggestive of that type of thing. It doesn't guarantee it. You got to get, some tests, and, you got to think about what you're doing. Are you doing something that, particularly is a big change, or putting something off and imbalancing it? Let's take a look at this chart here. And in here they're saying that any of these symptoms can be suggestive or, obvious of an underactive thyroid. And the more of these symptoms you have, the higher the probability is that you might have hypothyroidism. Check it out. Also, they often say, if it's something that runs in your family, but we say that don't accept them saying that, oh, it's probably what? Hereditary.
Genetic.
Most things are not hereditary. 99.9% is that the people in a family have the same type of lifestyle. They're eating the same kinds of food. Maybe their habits with alcohol, or not getting enough sleep, or even not drinking enough water and things like that are very similar. So therefore they end up with very similar ailments, okay? So let's keep going. So now we're talking about some information on hyperthyroid, okay? And some of the symptoms for having a hyperthyroidism. I know one that people often will look at somebody and say, I wonder. Obviously the goiter, if they have the huge goiter in the neck. But what's another one? The eyes. The bulging eyes. People often can tell that somebody, that might be an issue with them if their eyes are kind of bulging. Feeling restless, nervous. It's kind of the opposite of the hypo, when somebody's sitting down and they fall asleep right away. With the hyper, you're feeling restless, nervous, emotional, irritable, sleeping poorly. and as if you're always on the go, like you just can't be still. You just can't be still, and that's not good for the body.
No.
You know, because obviously that's not going to be good for your nerves. Not going to rest well. Okay, so difficulty concentrating, frequent bowel movements, irregular periods in women, weight loss or weight gain in rare cases. Wow. Always think about hyperthyroidism as someone who is not able to gain weight, but in rare cases, it might be that they have weight gain. So rapid, forceful, or irregular heartbeat. Now that can't feel good. Can't feel good, and that I'm sure would make somebody stay worried, right? Lack of periods again in women, and protruding eyes. Okay, again. Some of these symptoms, or somebody might have several of them going on, you really need to check, because it is not a good feeling. It's not healthy for the body. You know, your heart racing or things, your metabolism is slowed down so much that your body processes are not optimum for you to live a life full of vitality. Again, we don't want to just be here hanging on.
No.
We want to thrive. I don't know about you, but if I'm going to be here, I want us to be thriving, right? Okay, so let's go down further. So, and again, they talk about diagnosis. These are different tests, but again, sometimes doctors run a test, and it could be a false positive, or it could be a test that indicates, oh, well, it looks in the normal range, it's okay. Well, maybe you're not in the, quote, your border, your lines are not normal to everybody else's. Maybe your regular lines are somewhere different. And so, let's see. And so another thing, and this is something that nobody wants to hear, but there might be a risk for what? Thyroid cancer, the big C. I call it the big communication, because all it is your body telling you something's out of balance. Don't let anybody tell you that just because, oh, you got the big C, that you're going to be out here in a week or X number of months or whatever. No. As long as you're breathing, you can turn anything around.
Yes.
Okay? As long you got a blood source going to that place, that part of your body, you can send nutrients to that part of your body, okay? All the time they want to send you with all these medications and medicines and radioactive therapy and all of that kind of thing. Come on now. If you can send those things to those body parts trying to force the body to heal, why not send what the body uses naturally to repair, rebuild, maintain those body parts to turn that situation around, right? So let's take a look at what they're saying is if you're at risk for thyroid cancer, okay? So they're saying that if you have unusual lumps or nodules or bumps or swelling in the neck, don't ignore symptoms, people. So many people ignore symptoms, okay? Don't be afraid, put your head in the sand or go hide under the bed, because that's not going to help, right? And I'm not saying who you should go to, but you need to consult with yourself first, all right? Know that you got to put in your heart and mind that, hey, I can beat this. Whatever it is, I'm going to beat it. I just need to go find out some information, find out what I need to do, period, okay? Because, that doctor's not God, okay? That surgeon's not God. You are the God force, and you have been blessed with this body and this life, so you have to take the responsibility of saying, I'm going to be my biggest cheerleader.
Yes.
I'm going to take heed of the symptoms that my body or the information my body is communicating to me and take action, okay? You don't go put your life in someone else's hands and just say, okay, whatever you say, because whatever they say may not be what's good for you, all right? So there are things that, again, don't ignore symptoms. So if you got a pain in the front of your neck or your throat, don't just ignore it. Do something, right? Think about it. Have I made changes? Have I been exposed to something? Whatever, right? Hoarseness or other voice changes that do not go away. We've all gotten hoarse from shouting at a sports game or a cold or a flu or something like that. But, eventually the body heals it up and it goes away. But something that's lasting on and on and on, that's the body communicating to you, okay? Constant cough that's not due to a cold. Again, don't ignore the body communicating to you. All right? So let's keep going. All right. Let's talk about 4 things that wreak havoc on your thyroid. All right. One is gluten. So now I'm about to talk with those things about which you got control over. If gluten, which is a protein in certain grains, wheat, rye, barley, kamut, spelt, those things have gluten in them. And what do they say here? Gluten is one of the, along with other food sensitivities, is notorious for causing problems to the thyroid or thyroid dysfunction. They can cause inflammation. It can cause autoimmune responses where your body all of a sudden is attacking itself because it's out of balance, it's out of whack. It's like, friendly fire. Well, why? I don't need no friendly fire. I don't need my body fighting against itself, right? And so it can be responsible for a number of Hashimoto's thyroidism, what is often called hypothyroidism, hypo, and other autoimmune problems, okay? So gluten sensitivity, okay? Guess what? Stop eating the gluten. We've gone gluten-free because we've just learned that it's just not worth eating, right? The wheat around now is not the wheat your great-grandparents were eating. Wheat used to be maybe around 17 or so % protein. Now it's like 3 or less. It's like, why even eat it? It's not giving you quote-unquote protein, and it's causing problems in your digestive system. Guess what? You jack up your digestive system, that's where your nutrients go to be distributed through the body. So it's very important that you keep the digestive system hardy, strong, and not damaged, all right?
Yeah.
So, soy. Soy is another thing. Now, I know there's a lot of disagreement about soy. Soy, I only eat fermented soy because the bacteria work on it and change its structure so they make it really, really healthy, in my opinion, for my body. I don't have problems with it. But if I'm consulting with someone who has an ailment or something, I'm probably going to tell them, look, at least not even the fermented soy maybe. Don't do it while you're dealing with getting back into balance. Because let's just make sure that it's okay for you, all right? Gluten, I'm going to tell you, just leave that alone, right? You can find some other types of foods to eat, okay? And remember, I was saying that a problem with the iodine, lack of iodine, might not just be that you're not consuming enough. It might be that the chemicals in our environments, this modern day society and such, with all these chemicals they use and additives to foods and such, could be blocking the iodine receptor sites in your body. So bromides are a common endocrine, which is the system that your thyroid is a part of, disruptor, meaning it just goes in there and causes a mess up, a breakdown. So because bromide is also a halide, it competes for the same receptor sites. That's what I'm saying, that iodine does. So if you're in an environment where you're consuming things that have bromide in them and you don't have enough iodine in your body, then it's going to go into those places where you need the iodine, and it's not going to be cool because bromide is not a good substitute for the iodine in your body, okay? So places or ways that you can be exposed to bromide. And I'm going to tell you, when I was eating bread, I used to always read on the label, and I'm like, what is this bromide dough conditioner or whatever? Why can't they just use flour and water and a little salt or whatever and make this bread? What is this paragraph for? Okay, so you see over there on the right where they say bakery goods and some flours often contain a dough conditioner labeled potassium bromate. You know what all this stuff is to do? To artificially make the bread have a certain flavor, a certain texture, and that's a problem because these are not good substances for your body. Plastics. I've started buying glass containers for my food, so my food is not always in contact with plastic, and I suggest you do the same thing. If you buy it in the store and it happens to be in plastic, take it home and put it in some glass. because again, we're just exposed to so many plastics. Remember, we're very much connected to the earth, and if all that plastic out there in the ocean and on the ground and all over is choking the earth to death, guess what it's probably doing to us? Probably the same not good thing, right? So such plastics, even such as that our computers are made from, okay? Medications, look at that. Fire retardants. Now check it out. A lot of clothing has fire retardants on it. That means it's against your skin all the time. All the time. Look at the babies, the kids' clothes. They put that fire retardant on them, all their clothes, their little pajamas, da-da-da-da. And you think, well, that's to help in case there's a fire. Well, guess what? If you're poisoning the child 24/7, maybe you want to take a risk that if there's a fire, you just try and have a plan to get out. Do other things. Maybe not wear a lot of those artificial clothings. Really, it's a lot of these synthetic clothings that cause the big risk with fire. That, like if it caught on fire, it would burn the child because it could stick. Things like cotton and things like that don't burn that way. They don't melt like a plastic and against your skin if it were to catch fire. So anyway, there's a whole lot of things that we need to rethink doing. Soft drinks. Believe you me, if they call it soft, it probably means it's hard on the body. You know what I'm saying? These people who want to make money, they always tell you the opposite good sounding thing about a product. And that darn thing is not even good for you. Soft drinks. What's soft about that drink? It's got all kinds of chemicals in them. Look at that. And then the citrus flavored ones, for those of you think, well, I'm not going to drink those colas. Look what there. The citrus flavored sodas have a chemical in the form of brominated vegetable oil. Did you want to drink some oil, or did you want to drink something that was going to hydrate you and refresh you? I'm telling you. So, and also pesticides on foods. Oh my gosh. There's so many chemicals and pesticides. We're going to have to go over the dirty dozen list of the produce that has the worst amounts of pesticides on them. Strawberries is one. Since I've been living in California, I've only been here about 5 years, and they have okayed chemical after pesticide after chemical after pesticide and such on strawberries that I just said, listen, if I can't get me an organic strawberry or grow some, I'm not eating them. Because the last few chemicals that they have okayed, they know they are known carcinogens, but they still allow them on the strawberry crop. Why do you think you have those strawberries year round? And they're getting bigger and bigger. Real strawberries don't usually grow to look about the size of a golf ball. Okay, that's why they have no flavor. They're not sweet, and they are not good for you. They are loaded with pesticides. When they put that stuff on there, there's no way not to be eating it because the skin on the strawberry is very thin. Right? And you don't peel a strawberry, and even if you could, it is soaked in all the way to the fruit. So these are all kinds of ways to be exposed in such ways that to be exposed to these types of substances that will interfere with the iodine absorption in your body and cause big problems. You don't mess with a master switch. Who do you think should go and play with the fuse box in your house? Nobody. Not even the electrician that goes and plays with it, right? You don't mess with it because it's serious about being able to run the body and run the household. Okay, so things that you can do to free your body of some of these food halides and things like that, so that your body can hold on to more of the iodine that it needs and better help your thyroid function, are things like increase your iodine and vitamin C intake, okay? And I'm going to talk about some foods that can help with that. Increase your iodine and vitamin C intake. Again, something you can do. We can't control all these airplanes flying over and all the jet fuel residues that we end up being exposed to, but we can do things like increase our iodine and vitamin C intake, and I'll give you some suggestions in a second. We can opt for unrefined sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, okay? You can take Epsom salt baths. Isn't that something that helps to free up, clear out the body from those things? And you can also sweat in a far infrared sauna, okay? Now, stress and adrenal function. The stress is one of the worst thyroid offenders. So you got to stay cool, stay chill, okay, so that your thyroid can function better. And iodine is your best weapon against thyroid problems. So let's take a look real quick at the next article link because we're running out of time. And I'm going to talk a bit more about things that get in the way of that absorption of that thyroid. And we'll get rid of this. Somebody's ads popping up on our screen. Can we go back to the link and get rid of the ad off of it, or go down further? For this deal at the top, so we
No thanks.
no thanks to the so we get rid of that ad on there. But okay, so let's talk about seaweed while he's working on that. Seaweed, nori seaweed, best source of iodine, okay? One of the best sources of iodine. And what you want to do is make sure that you realize different seaweeds have different amounts of iodine. So, for example, the red seaweed dosh, you don't want to go crazy with that. That's not the one we want. Is that one showing to them?
That's not it.
No. It was the one that was up there first. So, the nori seaweed, you can eat more of the nori seaweed in a week, but not as much of the dosh, because the dosh has like, whew, that stuff is off the chain for the amount of iodine in it. Some as a problem, they can eat some seaweed, maybe every day, every other day, that's it, of the week, and that can be very helpful to them. But if you're not in balance like that, make sure you don't overeat it. Now, these are some of the foods that can actually cause a problem for people who have a thyroid issue: kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, soy milk, and whole wheat bread. A couple of those I wouldn't suggest you eat anyway. Let's go down further because we're running out of time. So all the way down, we're going to go down to the list of foods. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. We already talked about what the thyroid is. Okay, so 7 foods that can slump your energy if you have a thyroid imbalance. One is anything in the kale family, or the cruciferous vegetables: kale, cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli. You're going to have to leave those alone till you get that thyroid back into balance, all right? Let's keep going. I had heard about those before, but I hadn't heard about strawberries. Strawberries, peaches, pears, and rutabaga. They have a substance in them that can cause big problems with the thyroid. So please, if you've got thyroid issues, you got to give up these fruits and rutabaga, again, until you get back into balance. All right, let's go down further. We talked about the soy. Definitely not to do any soy unless it's fermented. Fatty foods, I wouldn't want you to be eating all that fried kinds of food anyway, but those are foods that you're going to have to cut out also, so you can cut out them problems. Sugary foods, again, another category I would not want you to be eating anyway, sugary foods. Let's keep going. Caffeine. Now, I know that King's sister, she's very sensitive to caffeine, and that's good that she does not even try to consume it. And processed foods. You don't want those, again, because of a lot of those chemicals I was talking about earlier. So let's see about 8 foods that promote healthy thyroid function. I'm a vegan, so I wouldn't do the fish, but nuts are great. Carrots and sweet potatoes. They've got organic dairy. Again, I don't do dairy. Beans, organic beef they have listed there. Bananas and tomatoes. Those are a list of some of the things. If you're vegan, you don't want to eat some of those things, but some of those things are really good on there for you.
Recipe.
Okay, and so now I want to talk really quickly about our nutrients here. The 90 for life are the things that you need to be taking so that you can stay in balance, get back in balance, and get all the nutrients you want. For example, our tangy tangerine, which you see us drinking all the time, has tons of vitamin C and the iodine that you need, and selenium. Selenium is another nutrient that's very, very needed and helpful for the body because it helps with soft tissue, okay? Now, people are saying, like, I can't give up bread. Sure you can. You can use seaweed to wrap different foods. You can use coconut wraps. You can stuff little organic cherry tomatoes. There's a lot of different options, okay? So, now, you want me to give them a recipe? Okay, so one thing that I love to do, we like to use romaine lettuce leaves, the long boat-like looking lettuce leaves, and stuff it with whatever we're eating. So maybe make a nut pate or a carrot dish or something like that. You can, or tempeh, mash up some tempeh and put some pickle relish in it and some onion and some vegan mayo or smash an avocado instead for the good fat, and then load that baby up. Ooh, it is so, so good. So now we're out of time.
I don't know about your book that's coming out.
Okay, and I am doing a recipe book. Raw Vegan Soul Food is so good for you, okay? And we're going to have sections in there that also talk about how to eat well for getting back in balance with some diseases or illnesses, and also how to keep certain organs to repair them, pump them back up, okay? So we love you. We thank you for joining us. We want to thank our sponsor.
Yes, I am 90forlife.com.
I am 90forlife.com. Yes, sir.
Yes, giving you all your minerals and vitamins, amino acids, and 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, and 12 amino acids. And it has helped us tremendously because we combine raw vegan soul food with all these minerals and vitamins, and it allows us to become nutritionally optimized.
Because the food doesn't have it all in it. Matter of fact, the food's got a lot of stuff you do not want in it, and so you've got to help your body out. Thank you so much for joining us, Sister Modupe, Raw Vegan Soul Food Show with Brother Bandele. And love you. See you again soon. Take care of yourself and go out and love somebody.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
peace.
Yes, peace.
We will never find an ending to our love. Oh, no, 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 to our love. Well, lovers come, lovers go.